Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the Seamwork Design Your Wardrobe mini course. This is something I just participated in. It ended about a week ago today. Whenever you're watching this video, it'll probably be like 2 weeks ago. And so if you didn't know what this is, it's a little mini course that Seamwork magazine created. Seamwork magazine is just a monthly issue that they send out digitally that has 2 patterns every month. I've talked about it on my channel before, and I can link the video if you're interested in seeing my thoughts about Seamwork itself. But this is just going to be talking about the Design Your Wardrobe course. So this course was free to members, so I thought why not just try it out, because I don't know, I like planning stuff and it sounded interesting to me. So the details about it, it's about 4 weeks long. Actually, it is 4 weeks long. And there's one dispatch every single weekday. And then at the end of it, you're supposed to have a very well thought out plan for what you're going to sew for whatever season you're planning for. And they also have a Facebook group where you can share photos and ask questions if you have any. And the dispatches come through your email, so yeah, that's basically like the format of how that works. So I'm going to go through each week and my thoughts on how each week was laid out, and then at the end I'll kind of summarize my thoughts overall. So the first week was the inspiration week, and during this week what you wanted to do was go through Pinterest and just pin a ton of things that you were really interested in. They talked about I guess having a specific season in mind so that it wasn't too broad. At the beginning you kind of actually I'm gonna pull out my sheets. So at the beginning what you do is you kind of have a goal and you write it down in your planner. And they give you these printouts, and then you print stuff out, and you have I guess a good idea of what you're looking for. So yeah, you basically start with what you want to accomplish, and then from there you go to the internet or magazines or wherever you find style inspiration and find a bunch of images that you like that represent what you want. People are being really loud in the hallway, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. So basically what you do is you gather all this inspiration, and then you end up with a final mood board that you curate, and then it has everything that you like, nothing that you don't like, and everything's cohesive or whatever. And then you come up with a concept for what this idea or what your mood board conveys. And that was really fun. I really liked that part of that part of this course. Yeah, I really liked my final mood board. And I will put actually a photo of it here if I can. And you come up with the concept of your collection. And mine is laid back classic modernism, which could be an oxymoron, but hey, that's what I wanted. So yeah, that was the first week. It was really fun. And then we moved on to the next week, or the second week. And they titled this week Gather. And so I guess the idea for this was to, I guess, gather more granular inspiration, like the colors and the fabric mostly. So you started out and you looked at your fabric stash to see if there's anything that was inspiring to you. And then you would go to fabric stores or shop online for fabric to see if there's any fabric that you don't have that you'd be interested in for this collection. And I did have a few issues with this, mostly because I have a tiny fabric stash. I don't don't buy a ton of fabric that I don't already have something planned for it specifically. So like I don't buy a ton of fabric and I don't have a ton of excess, but then if I just wanted to like go sew something on a whim, I really couldn't because I don't really have all these materials ready for me. So like the first part of the week was kind of annoying because literally I only had like 3 pieces of fabric that were even, that were uncut that I could work from, and I already have plans for those, and I know I'm going to sew them because I am working through the curated closet. So like I don't know, and then like the next thing after you look in your stash is you look online for fabric that inspires you. I had a lot of trouble with this. So when I'm shopping for fabric, I like to have a specific thing in mind that I want. Like I can't just look on a website and be like, oh, I like that fabric. I don't know what I would want to make with it. I seriously cannot. I don't understand how you can do, like, I just don't, it doesn't make any sense to me to shop for fabric with no end project, if that makes any sense. So this was like really difficult for me, and I was just like, okay, I guess I like this fabric, question mark. And then after that, you move on and you create a color palette, which was good. But I don't know if, well, I don't know if it really made sense to make the color palette after you shop for fabric, because then after you make your color palette, or after you get your fabric, you make a color palette, and then you balance your color palette so it's got a good amount of neutrals, and then like mid, or like I don't know what the exact terminology is, but like slightly neutral, and then like your statement colors. But then if you decide that you want something as, I'm trying to find that page where I have my colors. Okay, so you have your neutrals, basics, and statement. And here's the thing. So you're expected to go shop for fabric, and then you make a color palette. And then you're like, okay, this color palette has way too many neutrals, I need like a couple of statement colors. And then you're expected to go shop for fabric again. And it was really frustrating. I would have just liked to create the color palette up front, and then I could have gone and shopped for my fabric then, so that I knew what was in my color palette, rather than having to like, oh, well, this is not in my color palette anymore. It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So this week that week kind of frustrated me. And so I moved on to week 3. In week 3, you create your actual looks that you want to make. And I think it was a good process. You start out, you look in your wardrobe and see what you have, and then you take those pieces. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to talk over these really loud people, but I'm finding this obnoxious. Okay. So, week 3 was pretty fun because you got to create your looks. You start out with your, you start out by looking through your closet and seeing if anything works in your, or like would work with your mood board and your concept and everything, and your color palette. So you take those pieces and then you try to create looks that work with your mood board and everything. And if there's any pieces that you think you're missing, this is when you can like decide, oh, if I have this fabric that would work really well for a skirt here, or like, you know, that type of thing. So I didn't really follow this process very well because I was obviously a little bit frustrated at this point. And at this point you're also throwing out like fabric swatches that you decide that you don't want anymore. I kind of don't really think it made much sense for this week to happen after you gathered fabric. Because, so, I don't know, I think it would make more sense if you gathered all of your inspiration, you have your mood board, and then you're like, okay, I want to recreate some of these looks. And then you go to your closet and you're like, okay, I'm missing some pieces here. And then you're like, all right, so I want this pair of pants. And you're like, okay, it needs to be this color. I don't know. I just think it would make a lot more sense if week 3 and week 2 were switched and if parts in week 2 were rearranged, because it ended up being really frustrating for me. And then I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't even look at week 4. Like, I was really frustrated at this point, and I already knew a few things that I wanted to sew. Like, I just couldn't. And I know you're supposed to set up a really cute, like, project queue where you have your drawing of your garment idea with a swatch of the fabric, and it sounds really cute and really nice, but like, I was really frustrated by this process. And it's not because like the content is bad. The content seems really good and really useful. I just think the way that they arranged how, like, what order you do it in doesn't make any sense. Another thing that I would have preferred is, instead of having a dispatch every single day of the week, is if they had one bigger dispatch at the beginning of the week that you could work on at your own pace throughout the week, or like during the weekend or something. That would have worked a lot better, I think. And it would have also fixed the issue with week 2, where you're like, okay, so now I have to get all these fabric swatches and then make a color palette, and then if the color swatches don't work in my color palette, then I'll just throw them out and be like, well, that was 2 hours of my life totally wasted. Like, it was really frustrating, especially week 2. I didn't understand it. I mean, there's probably a reason for the ordering. I know that they said in the literature that they sent out that a lot of times whenever designers are designing a collection, they start with their fabric, but I'm sure that's not like the first thing that they start with. They probably already have a color palette designed. Like, I don't I don't know. Am I the only one who found this frustrating? Like, if you did design your wardrobe, like, tell me what you thought about it, because I feel like, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. So yeah, obviously I didn't really enjoy the design your wardrobe process. Like I said, I do think that the actual content was good, but it was just really unfortunate that I don't know, I don't think the order did justice to the content. So yeah, I do actually have some looks. I'll show you these on camera. Here's my look 1. These are a pair of Morgan jeans, and this is a Greenland Studio top, and I had already been planning on making these 2 items before I started this course. So you can tell I gained a lot from this course. Let's see. Oh, and then I have this shirt that I'm wearing right now, and a skirt that I was already planning on making before I started this course. Although I think I might make it in a different color. And then a cardigan that I want to make. Like, there's some I did gain from it. Like, I do think that one thing I did gain was so I tend to stick to a very strict color palette, like mostly blue and sometimes like blush, but very cool toned colors. And then I realized as I was pinning stuff, I was like, oh, I really like the color mustard. I should probably get something that's mustard. So, I mean, that is one thing I gained from it, is I realized that maybe I do like a color that's not blue or gray or green. I don't know. So yeah, I'll see about what kind of mustard stuff I'll make. I don't know why people are being so loud right now in the hallway. It's really obnoxious. So yeah, if you have any thoughts about the Design Your Wardrobe course, let me know. I did put all my thoughts in a survey response to Seamwork, so because they did send out a link for a survey, so hopefully they'll improve the ordering of everything, because I just found it really frustrating having to search for fabric multiple times, because that's like one of the things, I know a lot of people really like shopping for fabric, but I find it really frustrating because I have like really specific things that I want with my fabric, and it's hard for me to shop unless I already know what I want. Yeah, so that's basically my thoughts. Obviously it's just my opinion. I do really like Seamwork and I appreciate them offering the course, but in the end I didn't gain much out of it other than that I should try looking for mustard. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you later. Bye!